Hey everyone, this is Brian from Wonder Surfboards. So what we got here is a rail ding that I'm about to repair. So here I'm just feeling around the damaged area to make sure there's no delamination. So I'm getting some knocks, listening for any kind of dull thud sound, any soft spots. So it seems pretty solid, so I'm going to get going with the Dremel and the cutting wheel and cut out that damage. So here I'm barely putting pressure with that cutting wheel into the fiberglass, just enough to get through the couple layers of fiberglass. It'll go a little into the foam, but it's fine. That cut that you put into the foam will be filled with the filler, which is the next step. As you can see, there is a repair that was previously done on this board to the right of this one. It was a pretty solid repair, so I just decided to leave it and not cut it out. So here I'm just pulling out all the old fiberglass and resin that may be stuck on that foam. And once I'm done cutting this out and cleaning it up, I'm going to take a flat-tipped grinding stone on the Dremel just to clean it up and flatten out the foam, get any old resin that was stuck on there, just to give me a nice working area. So here I go, I'm just flattening out, cleaning it up, getting rid of all that old resin. I also go around the edges and on the top just to have a nice contact area for the new resin and fiberglass. Here I'm taping off the bottom so no drips go to the deck, give myself a nice working area. Just makes sanding easier in the later steps. Here I build a little dam. This way it has the shape of the rail already. I get all the creases out so resin doesn't seep in there. And I'm going to mix up the resin with Cabasil. So as you can see, the reason why I chose the Cabasil was it does make a harder filler, but it does make it a little bit more difficult to sand. So instead of starting with like a 220 grit, you'll end up starting with like a 120 or a 180 grit just to smooth it out, to get it level with the board, and then finish it with the 220 just to get it nice and smooth for when you go to laminate. So here I'm just smoothing it out with the popsicle stick, make sure it's jammed in there. After it cures, I pull off the tape, and in the bottom left there's a little low spot, so I'll fill it up off camera just so it's nice and level and filled in. As you can see, it's a little globby, so I'll sand that down. And like I said, here I started with a 120 grit just to break it down, get it nice and level and smooth. And I only go for so long with the dual action sander. I like to do the rest by hand. This way I don't burn through that fiberglass of the original glassing job. It's a little more time consuming, but just to be safe, it's just less work in the long run. I am going to be hot coating at the end of this repair anyway, if I did burn through, it would be filled. Here I go, I put on the 220 grit and I'm just smoothing it out to 220. And you're just trying to get it as smooth as possible. It doesn't have to be 100% perfectly smooth, because I am going to be putting a couple layers of fiberglass cloth over it. As you can see, I got it pretty smooth, but I'm taping off again. This time I went a little wider with my tape. As you can see, a bigger rectangle. Here I mix the laminating resin, which helps you saturate the fiberglass. I do a quick base coat just so that layer sits on there. Just work the resin into the fiberglass till it's fully saturated. As you can see, I went over the other repair because I'm not sure whoever did the other repair if they put fiberglass over it or just use Q-cell. And I know it's Q-cell because it's wider than my Cabicel that I used. So that's the first layer. Here's the second layer going on now. Same thing, get it stuck down, tack down with the resin, and you just saturate that level or that layer. Smooth it out. I always work from the inside out so you don't get any wrinkles or creases. Put a little more resin. Saw a couple of dry spots underneath, so I decided to put a little more resin. That's it. Let it cure. So once it's cured, you just pull off that tape. As you can see, there's obviously some fiberglass that got stuck. So I'm just going to start a leaf cut there, and then come from right to left and do a nice clean cut. So it's just less sanding, cleaning up any tape residue that was left behind. Nice and solid, as you can see. Now I'm just using 220 grit sandpaper here, just to blend the fiberglass cloth with the original fiberglass. And it's the same thing as earlier. This, just take your time. You're just trying to try and blend it in. Also, guys, if you can, please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos like this: ding repairs, surfboard building, product reviews, interviews with people in the industry. Also, turn on your notification bell so you can see when the next video comes out. So here I'm just putting my big head in the camera as I clean up the fiberglass. So as you see, it's nice and smooth. Again, layer fiberglass because I'm going to get prepared for the hot coat. And then here I'm ready to go with the hot coat. So with the hot coat, it's to provide a smooth sandable surface, and to make the laminating resin sandable, you need to add a surfacing agent, which once it cures, it has wax that rises to the surface of the resin, and it just makes it easier to sand. So here, just brushing it on. Repair this size, I just went with a 1-inch brush, and you can do nice, even, clean strokes. And the last few strokes, you're just barely putting weight. It's just the weight of the brush that's putting it so it comes nice and level. As you can see, it's pretty glassy in the picture or in the video, but you still have to sand it down and to blend it with the other fiberglass with the board. So this, I'm just going right to 220 grit. And after I'm done with the 220 to blend it in, I'm going to switch over to wet sanding. I'm barely putting any pressure on that dual action sander on the rails because I do not want to burn through that fiberglass cloth I put in the hot coat. If you burn through the hot coat, you got to hit it again. You don't want to have any weave showing. So with my wet sandpaper, I start with 400, I go to 600, 800, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, and then 4,000. I know it may seem overboard, but I really get this board super smooth. And the reason why I keep going to the finer sandpaper is just to get rid of all the scratch marks from the previous grit that you used. There we go, finishing off with the 4,000. Wiping it down, and she is done. She's ready to get back in the water. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.